Welcome to the Apocryphal Archive. Stop. Look at the image in your mind when I say the word angel. You see a beautiful human with two feathery wings, don't you? Maybe a cute, chubby baby floating on a cloud with a harp. Erase that image. It is a lie. It is a fabrication of Renaissance artists who wanted to make the divine look safe. The Bible never describes angels like that. The entities described by the prophets Ezekiel, Isaiah, and John are not beautiful. They are Lovecraftian nightmares. They are spinning wheels of fire covered in eyeballs. They are six-winged serpents burning with radiation. They are multi-faced chimeras that would shatter your mind if you saw them in your room tonight. The Bible doesn't say, "Be not afraid," because they are polite. It says it because they are terrifying. Today, we are going to peel back the paint of the Sistine Chapel and look at the raw, screaming reality of the biblical text. We are going to expose the cherubim for what they really are. We are going to look into the eyes of the aphonim. Stop believing the fairy tales. This is the terrifying, true form of biblical angels. To understand the magnitude of the deception, we have to start at the scene of the crime. We have to go to the art gallery, walk through any museum in Europe, or look at the Christmas cards in your local store. You are bombarded with the image of the puto, plural putti. These are the naked, toddler-like winged creatures that we have collectively decided to call cherubs. Where did this come from? Did the prophet Ezekiel see a floating baby? Did Moses see a toddler guarding the Ark of the Covenant with a flaming sword? No. This image is a pagan infiltration. It is the direct descendant of Eros and Cupid, the Greek and Roman spirits of love and fertility. In the ancient world, these genii, or spirits, were depicted as winged children. When the Renaissance exploded in Italy, artists like Donatello and Raphael were obsessed with reviving classical Greek aesthetics. They took the pagan Cupid, stripped him of his bow, and pasted him into Christian art to represent the innocence of the divine presence. They called them cherubim because the word sounds soft, sweet, innocent. But the Hebrew word cheruvim, cherubim, does not mean cute. The etymology is debated, but many scholars link it to the Assyrian keribu, monstrous bull-like guardian spirits that protected the thrones of kings. They were not pets. They were security systems. The great deception of art history has lobotomized our understanding of the spiritual realm. It has turned the warriors of God into nursery decorations. It has domesticated the divine, and in doing so, it has robbed us of the true, awe-inspiring horror of what it actually means to stand in the presence of the Creator, because the beings that guard the throne of God are not human. They are barely comprehensible. To see them, we must leave the museum and open the book of Ezekiel. The year is 593 BC. Ezekiel is a priest living in exile in Babylon. He is sitting by the Chebar Canal, depressed, defeated, a captive of a pagan empire. And then the sky rips open. Ezekiel chapter 1 is one of the most intense, psychedelic, and difficult passages in all of literature. It is a first-hand account of a close encounter of the divine kind. Ezekiel struggles to find words for what he is seeing. He uses the word likeness, demuth, over and over again because human language is breaking down. He sees a storm wind coming from the north, a great cloud with fire flashing forth continually. And from the center of the fire emerge four living creatures, Hayot. Let's look at them. Let's really look at them, pixel by pixel, based on the text. First, their general shape. They had the likeness of a man, meaning they stood upright. But that is where the humanity ends. Each creature had four faces, not one, four. And they weren't all human. On the front, a human face. On the right side, the face of a lion. On the left side, the face of an ox. And on the back, the face of an eagle. Imagine this creature standing in front of you. It has no back of the head. It is seeing in 360 degrees simultaneously. It is a biological impossibility. It is a chimera of the apex predators of the earth, the lion, king of beasts, the eagle, king of birds, the ox, king of domestic strength, and man, ruler of creation. It represents absolute dominion. But it gets worse. They had 4 wings. 2 wings were stretched upward, touching the wings of the creature next to them, creating a box of formation. The other 2 wings covered their bodies. Underneath their wings, they had human hands, just floating there, detached from a shoulder, emerging from the plumage. Hands ready to execute judgment, to take fire, to manipulate reality. And their legs, they were not human legs. The text says their legs were straight, and the soles of their feet were like the sole of a calf's foot. They had hooves, and they sparkled like burnished bronze. These are the cherubim, not fat babies. They are 4-faced, 4-winged, hoofed, metallic, glowing, animal-human hybrids that move with the speed of lightning. And they are terrifyingly synchronized. Ezekiel writes, they did not turn when they went. Each one went straight forward. Because they have faces on all sides, they never have to turn around. They simply move. They glide in any cardinal direction without altering their orientation. They are the ultimate unstoppable force. But Ezekiel isn't done. The camera zooms out. Next to these cherubim, he sees something even stranger. He sees the ophanim. The word ophan in Hebrew simply means wheel. But these are not the wheels of a cart. Ezekiel describes them as a wheel within a wheel. Imagine a gyroscope, 2 rings intersecting at a 90-degree angle, hovering in the air. And their appearance? They gleamed like beryl or topaz, a precious alien stone. They were massive. Ezekiel says their rims were so high they were awesome or dreadful. And then the detail that fuels nightmares. Their rims were full of eyes all around. Hundreds, perhaps thousands of eyes, blinking, watching, rolling. The wheels are alive. They are sentient geometry. They are the many-eyed ones. Why eyes? In the ancient world and in the logic of the archive, eyes represent awareness. They represent judgment. A being covered in eyes is a being that sees everything. There is no hiding place. There is no shadow where you can sin in secret. The Ophanim are the surveillance system of the Almighty. They are the literal embodiment of God's omnipresence, and they are connected to the cherubim. Ezekiel says, when the living creatures went, the wheels went beside them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. This is the Merkabah, the divine chariot. It is a biological, mechanical, spiritual tank. It is a throne that moves. It is a mobile command center of judgment. Imagine standing by a river in Babylon and seeing this descend from a storm cloud, a swirling vortex of fire, 4-faced beast men, and gyroscopic wheels covered in eyeballs, all moving in perfect, lightning-fast unison with the sound of a mighty army and rushing water. You wouldn't smile. You wouldn't ask for a blessing. You would do exactly what Ezekiel did. You would fall on your face and feel like you were about to die. Let's take a breath. This description of the cherubim and Ophanim is overwhelming. It challenges everything we thought we knew about angels. I want to ask you, if you saw a biblically accurate angel in your room tonight, a wheel of eyes or a 4-faced cherub, what would be your reaction? Type terror in the comments if you would pass out. Type awe if you think you could handle the glory. I'm guessing 99% of us are typing terror, and that is the correct response. If you are enjoying this deep dive into the true visuals of the Bible, please hit the like button right now. It helps us break through the algorithm's Q angel filter and get this forbidden lore out to the masses. Now, let's go higher. We've seen the guardians, cherubim, and the transport, ophanim. Now, we must look at the burning ones, the seraphim. To find the seraphim, we must leave Ezekiel's riverbank and travel to the temple in Jerusalem in the year King Uzziah died, approx. 740 BC. We are opening the book of Isaiah, chapter 6. Isaiah is standing in the Holy of Holies. He sees the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and the train of his robe fills the temple. And hovering above the throne are the seraphim. The word seraph, singular, is singular in its terrifying implication. The root Hebrew, seraph, means flaming one. Verb seraph means to burn. The seraphim are the burning ones. But it gets deeper. The word seraph is also used elsewhere in the Bible, Numbers 21, Isaiah 14, to describe venomous snakes. The fiery serpents that bit the Israelites in the wilderness were called seraph. So what are we looking at here? Are they burning men, or are they burning dragons? Archaeology suggests a disturbing connection. In the iconography of the ancient Near East, in Egypt and Israel, winged cobras, uraeus, were symbols of divine protection and royalty. Isaiah describes them. Each one had 6 wings. With 2 wings, he covered his face. Humility. Even the highest angels cannot look directly at God. With 2 wings, he covered his feet. Modesty. Feet is often a Hebrew euphemism for the lower body, genitals, suggesting that even the angels cover their creatureliness before the Creator. And with 2 wings, he flew. So picture this. A being of pure, liquid fire, perhaps reptilian or draconic in form, or perhaps a burning humanoid, but obscured by a chaotic flurry of 6 wings. You cannot see its face, you cannot see its body. You only see the fire, the wings, and the movement. And they are loud. Isaiah says, the foundations of the thresholds shook at the voice of him who called. They are screaming continuously in an antiphonal choir that shatters stone. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. This is not a harp concert. This is a sonic boom. This is the sound of a nuclear reactor worshiping its architect. The effect on Isaiah is immediate trauma. He screams, "Woe is me, for I am lost, for I am a man of unclean lips." He knows that a dirty thing cannot exist in the presence of the burning ones. He expects to be incinerated. And then a seraph acts. It does not offer a hug. It flies to the altar, picks up a burning coal with tongs. Even the burning angel cannot touch the holy fire directly, and flies to Isaiah. It touches the burning coal to Isaiah's mouth. It cauterizes his lips. It burns away the sin with fire. This is the nature of the seraphim. They are the agents of God's consuming holiness. They are the purifiers. They are dangerous, painful, and absolutely essential. They are not safe, but they are good. We have ascended the ladder. From the cherubim, the hybrid guardians, to the ophanim, the seeing wheels, to the seraphim, the burning purifiers. But the archive holds texts that go even further. Texts that were excluded from the canon, perhaps because the visions they contained were simply too alien for the human mind to process. We must turn again to the book of Enoch. In the 3rd book of Enoch, also known as the Hebrew book of Enoch or Sefer Hekalat, we are introduced to an angel who defies all scale and logic. An angel so massive, so powerful, that he is often called the Lesser Yahweh, Yahweh HaKatan. His name is Metatron. According to this hidden lore, Metatron was once a human, the patriarch Enoch himself. Because Enoch walked with God, he was taken up to heaven and transformed into the supreme archangel. The description of this transformation in 3 Enoch is a masterclass in cosmic horror and majesty. Enoch describes his flesh turning into flame, his veins into fire, his bones into embers, his eyes into torches. He is physically transmuted from biology to energy. And then God gives him his form. He is given 72 wings. Why 72? In Jewish mysticism, 72 is the number of the names of God. It represents totality. But these are not bird wings. The text says that each single wing is as the whole world. Let that sink in. A wingspan that covers the globe. 72 of them. And he is given eyes. Not 2, not 100 like the Ophanim. He is given 365,000 eyes, each one like the great light, the sun. Imagine a being composed of 365,000 suns, with wings the size of continents. A being of such blinding, radiant complexity that to look upon him is to see the entirety of the cosmos staring back. Metatron is described as the Prince of the Countenance. He is the scribe of heaven. He sits, a rare privilege in Jewish angelology where angels usually stand, on a throne next to God. Why was this book excluded? Why is Metatron not in your Sunday school lesson? Perhaps because the line between angel and God becomes terrifyingly thin here. A being of this magnitude threatens the monotheistic distinctions. He is too big for the canon. He is a secret kept for the mystics. But he is there, in the lore, a testament to the fact that the human form is just a caterpillar phase. The destiny of the spirit is to become something vast, fiery, and multidimensional. And then there are the angels of terror. The Bible doesn't just have guardians and worshipers. It has assassins. We see them in 1 Chronicles 21. King David has sinned by taking a census, an act of pride, trust in numbers. God gives him a choice of punishments. David chooses to fall into the hand of the Lord. So God sends the destroying angel, Malach HaMashhit. This is not a demon. This is a holy angel doing God's wet work. The angel moves through Israel, killing 70,000 men in 3 days. It is a pestilence in angelic form. David looks up and sees him. David lifted his eyes and saw the angel of the Lord standing between earth and heaven, and in his hand a drawn sword stretched out over Jerusalem. This visual, an entity hovering between dimensions, suspended in the sky, sword drawn, ready to liquidate a city, is pure terror. It drove David to his face in the dirt. We see this figure again in the Passover story, the destroyer who moves through Egypt, killing the firstborn. Inescapable, dark. And we see him in Revelation 9:11, the angel of the abyss, the king of the locusts. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek he is called Apollyon. Both names mean destroyer. This is an angel whose entire function, whose very name, is destruction. He is the nuclear option of heaven. He keeps the key to the bottomless pit. He is not a fallen angel, in many interpretations. He is God's jailer. He is the warden of hell. The biblically accurate angel is not just weird-looking. He is dangerous. He carries a sword, a bowl of plague, or a sickle for the harvest of souls. So, we have the faces, the wheels, the fire, the eyes, and the swords. This leads us to the ultimate question of the archive. Why? Why do they look like this? Why did the Renaissance artists feel the need to lie to us? And why does the Bible give us these nightmare visions? The answer lies in the limitations of our dimension. Imagine you are a 2-dimensional stick figure living on a flat piece of paper. You only understand lines and circles. Now, imagine a 3-dimensional human tries to interact with you. If the human puts their finger through the paper, you don't see a hand. You see a weird, fleshy circle that appears out of nowhere, changes size, and disappears. It would look terrifying. It would look wrong. This is what is happening in Ezekiel and Revelation. These angels, cherubim, seraphim, ophanim, are multi-dimensional beings. They exist in the spiritual realm, which has more dimensions than our physical world. When they intersect with our 3D reality, our brain tries to interpret the data, and it fails. 4 faces might be a 3D interpretation of a being that can perceive all directions of time and space simultaneously. Wheels within wheels is an attempt to describe movement that happens in non-linear space, tesseracts, hyperspheres, quantum movement. Thousands of eyes is the only way our language can process total awareness. They look like monsters to us because they are more real than we are. The Renaissance artists, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, they couldn't paint hyperdimensional geometry. They were humanists. They wanted to celebrate the human form. They wanted a heaven that looked like a cocktail party in Florence. So they reduced the seraphim to pretty ladies in robes. They reduced the cherubim to cute babies. They made heaven comfortable. They made heaven safe. But the Bible isn't interested in your comfort. It is interested in the truth. And the truth is that we live in a universe that is teeming with intelligences so vast, so ancient, and so complex that if the veil were lifted for even 1 second, we would probably die of fright. These are the beings that fight the spiritual war. When you pray for protection, you aren't calling for a fat baby with a harp. You are calling for a 6-winged dragon of fire. You are calling for a 4-faced warrior with hoofs of bronze. You are calling for the wheels that see everything. And that should make you feel a lot safer than a baby on a cloud. This investigation has shattered the porcelain doll. We have seen the true face of the heavenly host. But the archive is never empty. The visual trend of biblically accurate angels is just the surface. We have looked at the good angels, mostly. But what about the others? We have explored the watchers who fell. We have explored Lilith who fled. But there is a deeper secret hidden in the Vatican's archives. A secret about texts that were hidden not because they were scary, but because they were political. What if I told you there is a gospel where Jesus laughs at his disciples? A gospel where the cross is not a tragedy, but a trick? In our next investigation, we are going to crack open the Gnostic Gospels. We are going to read the Gospel of Judas, the text that claims Judas was not a traitor, but Jesus' best friend and only true disciple. You do not want to miss that. If you are ready for the truth, subscribe to the Apocryphal Archive. Click the bell. The algorithm hides these truths. You have to choose to see them. And tell me in the comments, which class of angel is your favorite? The burning seraphim? The chimera cherubim? Or the geometric ophanim? I'll be in the comments, watching, like a wheel full of eyes. Until then, keep listening to the silence. The archive remains open.